So Rentrak is kind of the whiz behind the screen in many ways, empowering this whole linear television programmatic movement. Tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing, how you're playing, what your role in the ecosystem is, and what you've got right now in your measurement toolkit.
Sure. So I think that's a good way to put it, and to think about it. In order to do programmatic buying, whether it's TV or online, you need information upon which to base those decisions. And in the television space, Rentrak has the most information available for these decisions. And specifically, we have return path set-top box data from 12 million TV households across the United States. So we obtain these data through partnerships with cable, satellite, and telco operators. So we have relationships with them. They permit us to license that data to create both primarily rating services for both the total US and for local markets. Now, one of the benefits of this approach, this sort of larger scale approach to television data collection, is it provides more information, sort of more stable and granular information than has been available previously in the television space. So that information helps, for example, provide ratings on what are known as sort of the long tail networks, or networks that have less audience. So the Rentrak's information becomes the standard by which to judge the size of those audiences. And
I mean, I think it's interesting, right? Because data has historically been a scary thing for television, right? But there's a lot, when we talk about it in the context of programmatic, data is actually driving value, right? I mean, that's a big part of the conversation. I know you guys have been playing a role in that. Can you give us a little bit more detail in that area?
Sure. Without data, programmatic is very challenging. So even if you had the algorithms and the insertion capabilities, if you didn't have information upon which to base those decisions, it's a challenge. So Rentrak has done, in addition to collecting all this television information, we've done several sort of partnerships to bring in additional targets or assessments of consumer value onto the TV data. So for example, in the political space, we've merged in voter registration information. On automotive, we've partnered with IHS, which owns Polk. So we have automotive registration data tied to our TV viewing. So now you can identify relatively small audiences, like people who bought a Buick LaCrosse in the last 12 months, which is maybe 40,000 households in the US, and identify, well, what are they watching on TV? And that could potentially be important if you want to market that brand. Now, more recently, 2 weeks ago, we announced a partnership with IRI, where IRI, which measures consumer packaged good purchasing, ComScore, which is digital and mobile measurement, and Rentrak are coming together to sort of weave through purchase-based targets coming from IRI, both online and to television.
And what do you think is, what do you sort of think from a data perspective is of the greatest value right now in enabling linear television programmatic buying? Is it really about sort of this proxy for rating on longer tail networks per se? Is it first party data? What do you think the biggest sort of tipping point is for linear TV programmatic buying?
So I think the long tail information is important, but being able to identify kind of targeted audiences, whether that's through merging first-party data or, let's say, data like publicly available data like the automotive registration data, to better define those groups. Because I think it's, for programmatic to scale to the levels that we expect it to, it's going to need to avail itself of all the TV inventory available, not just some subsets of it. So the long tail is important, and it provides a metric to assess and evaluate that inventory where there wasn't before, but really it's bringing more targeting information onto the television viewing to assess the values of those audiences.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, David. And Dan, I would love to sort of pose the question to you. When you look at how folks are using the Adapt platform to buy, what do you see as the sort of greatest unifying data set that's cross-platform? Is it first-party data? Is it audience segmentation modeling? Like, what do you actually see driving the greatest cross-platform spend?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with the age gender as kind of the common currency, but the value of working with our platform, or really any data-driven programmatic TV buying platform, is that capability to start looking at the audience the way they do in planning. You know, all of those attributes beyond age and gender. So we start with all the syndicated data that's available through Rentrak and other partners, and then depending on the availability of CRM data or first party, that is definitely kind of the next step. That's where these big CPG and auto and telco customers definitely want to, they sit on all that customer data. They activate it in digital right now. To be able to activate it in television is that big kind of aha moment for them and can really drive value. So I think it starts with the syndicated data that's available that helps to inform better than just age, gender, and it will come to first party data in a very scalable way definitely this year.